This next demonstration, we are going to go over the SDS2 menus in the modeling program. First, as you go through the modeling, you can see at the top of your screen you have pull-down menus. If you click on File, you get options here under File. And as you look at these options here, you'll see at the bottom of each pull-down menu there is a help menu. So for example, views and grids, if you wanted to know more about this pull-down, and as you can see, any with the arrow have additional options, you go to the help menu. So here under the file pull-down, here's all your options, and if you want to know how to add a grid line or add a curved grid line, etc., or create a RFI, it'll take you to the help information for that subject. So let's exit out of here and we'll go to edit. Here are your options for the edit pull down. Under edit, you can see there are options for searching for failed connections, searching for graphical connections, beam web doublers, quite a few options here to search for. As we get into the program further, we will use some of these search options. Edit piece marks and some change options to change certain items. Go to the view pull down, view. As we go through the view, you can see that plan view, section view, isometric view. If I go back to the main menu here, you can see I have some icons on my screen here. Here's plan view, section view, and reference elevation. What you generally do is on your screen, you go and put on your typical icons that you like to use. The most oftenly used icons, and as you can see along the side here, there are other icons. As we get into the program here, I'm going to reference some of the icons here on the side, some across the top here, and then in general I'm going to use the pull down menus to show you how to do certain things so you know where the commands are. As you continue to use SDS2, you probably will not use most of the pull down menus. You'll have your typical icons that you use on the side, or we'll go back up here to our view. As you're using, say you're using a lot of these view options here, you can see on the top here it has a dashed line. If I click on that, it breaks that menu off. So now this menu is here. It's kind of like a floating menu that you can use. You can move it off to the side, and if you're using that plan view command a lot, or change solids and so on, you can have that as a pull off. When you're done with it, you just click the close button and close it out. Another option I will reference here is, say your plan view here, you can see this V or relative depth, RD, change all, solid opaque, SA, change all the stick, AS. Them are your shortcut keys. So again, as we get into it, say we're changing all the solid, instead of having to go up to this pull down menu and say change all the solid, you can just hit SA on your keyboard and it will do that command. So back to view here. Again, you have your different types of views, your different solid options, and retaining view, that will allow you to save this view that you're in right now. It will not save it as a view, but let's hit retain view here, and then I go and up here and open gridline C. Now if I go back to view and previously retain view, it'll take me back to that previously retained one. So it's an option as you're going through and you're surface on certain things and you find a view that you need to get back to that's not a saved view, you can hit that retain view and later go back to the previously retained view to get back to that. Okay, now we'll go to navigate. Your navigate menu here. Again, all these commands here should be in your reading assignments to go through. And as you have questions on what certain commands do, again, you have your help menu here. So let's say, for example, snap to surface, if we do our help, snap to surface. Here's the information on how to use that command, step-by-step instructions. And as you scroll down through here, it shows you what it does. And as you surface on something, you can change your depth in and out, how far this computer can see in and out of the screen. Model, add in construction lines, construction circles. Again, if you click on the ones with the arrows, more commands, different types of construction lines. As we go to members, adding in members, and again, as you highlight that one, different types of members to add in. Different types of materials. We can add holes, bolts, welds, components. Status display we'll get into a little bit later. You can show different options in different colors on your screen. For example, you can show all failed connections of certain colors so they stand out on your screen. Updating status, we'll get into that later. That should take care of that menu for now. Again, the help menu is there if you have questions on these commands. Locate. Locate is your point locations. Again, hit your help, and as you can see on the top of my screen here, I've got my horseshoe here, auto point, intersection of construction lines, base construction line, perpendicular, angle, intersection of construction line and member, base off a member line, exact point, dx/dy offset, and vertex point, base off a grid line, a free point, a point on a line, and a polar point. And then here you can toggle your ortho on and off. And there's a couple other options here we'll cover later. But as you go through them, if you have questions on what each one does, what auto point does, for example, you can read up on that on the help menu. Under process, we have processing the members, detailing members, detailing selected members, detailing submaterial, erection views, member groups, and so on. And then auto loading of members. Again, another help menu if you have questions on them options. Reports. Number of reports you can run from advanced bill of material to bill reports, checking reports, design calculations, If you get something like this on your screen with an error, let me know so we can report it to design data. Or you can hit the email button here and send it off yourself. Next is utility. Certain items you can do here if you forgot to copy stuff when you set up your job, if you forgot to copy your job standards or global standards or detailing templates or other job items. Again, help menu. Interface for plotting, creating a BIF file, model link, and so on. Again, the help menu for that. Options. Here are your job options. All the setup here, information here, we are going to leave as it is. You can read up on that information. This stuff will be covered more in depth on the next course. Fabricator options. Pull that menu off here. Your standard fabricator connections. I'll just show you a few of these here. Standard clip angle setup. Here's your information on your hole-to-hole center distance for wide gauge, narrow gauge, and so on. Again, we're going to leave all this stuff as it is set. This is where all the information is pulled from when SDS designs connections. Again, this will be covered more in depth in the next course. Member piece marking options, bill of material layout, your dimensioning criteria. Again, how for when an SDS2 details the members, how it details them, for general detailing for beams, columns, bracing, miscellaneous. Your drawing cosmetics, pen setup, general detailing fab options, bolting options, connection, detailing fab option, fabrication options, member detailing, fabrication options, erection view detailing options, stair tread, definition schedule, and so on. Again, all this information here, there's a lot of information here. This is where SDS2 pulls information for the modeling and for the detailing drawing editor portion. We are going to leave all this stuff as is, and again, that'll be covered more in depth in the next course. User options. If you want to, you can change your toolbars, how your toolbars look, and save that configuration. So for my example here, I've slightly modified the default configuration and I saved it as NTC Modeling 2015 in the modeling portion, and I also did one for the drawing editor. This is where you would, after you modify your toolbars here, maybe you added some different icons here off on the left hand side, or added some or taken some off, and then it'll ask you to save. After you save it, you would come back into this portion under user options, and you would select your file cabinet here and select the configuration file that you want. And then next time you go into SDS2, that's the configuration that it will use. output, here's where you can tell, say you're running reports, you can tell it how you want to run them reports. We're going to leave everything as default. If you would want to change that, this is where you would change it. And again, there's a help menu here to help you change them options. Interface here gives you options on how your mouse reacts to certain things. If you want to go on to a command over here, if you wanted to activate it, activate the mode when you press your button, or as the pointer enters that command, it'll activate it. Right now we have on button press. Point selection by area box, if you want the traditional or directional. Again, for the help menu, you can look at the help menu and it'll explain what each one of them does. And I'm not going to go through the rest of these. I've covered some of these in one of the previous videos with the animation. You want to probably leave that on 0, otherwise it animates your screen as you are doing certain commands. So next to system, we'll leave everything as it is. Under site, it's information, your company information, and where to send bug reports to. Under member status, items to copy, repeat. I think I have covered this in one of the previous videos, but this is where you would change your, as you put in members, let's say you put in an existing member, the next member you would put in is not going to repeat that as being an existing member because you have this box checked. If you check that on, if you put in an existing member, the next time you put one in, the next member you put in, it'll remember that. Modeling. Highlight add bolts when matching holes. This is where you'd find that option. And then also your surfacing depth as you snap to a surface. The default says to look into the screen of 10 feet and out of the screen 3 inches. If you prefer something else, you could set your default here. Highlighting the different options here in different colors to show. And in general, the colors here, one item to highlight here is your background color. I believe I've covered this again previous video, but my background color for my modeling is black. Modeling background color 1 and 2, black and black. And your drawing editor or your modeling terrain color here, another option. And also the drawing editor color, black. So that covers user options. And then here are your toolbar configurations. We're not going to cover these in this class, but here's where you go to change your toolbars. If you want to add or delete icons off here, your keyboard configuration to make shortcuts like AS for all solids or all stick. And again, a help menu for them options. And the last one is the help menu. Again, that's where you'll find your reading assignments, or again on the main menu you can find the help menu. So that's a general overview of the pull down menus for SDS2. All the options here, some of the options, I should say some of the options on the side here for the icons, across the top here for icons, and over here on the right hand side there are some icons, as well as on the bottom. All the options you can find up here. Again, the options on the side, top, left, right, are your most common ones you use as a detailer, and it's just your preference which ones you show.